Here we go. Hello, my name is Tucker, and I'm going to be drawing um, the environment today. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw these trees. This is my reference here on the left. This is where I got it from, the site, who is by, just to say this isn't directly from me, you gotta give credit to these people who went out of their way to grow these trees and take a picture of them. So, but yeah, I'm gonna start drawing some of them because they look good and I'm feeling like drawing some nature. I already took a picture of that picture, so um, I've even zoomed in, looked at the leaves, even though they're blurry. Um, I kind of wear glasses myself, and I just take them off, and I'm like, everything already looks blurry to me. I put them back on, and I kind of got an understanding of how that leaf should be. Like, I don't need to understand how much detail is on that leaf, but exactly kind of understand how the leaves work. Like, it just kind of points out in each direction. And I get all that just by looking at it. Am I going to go in here and draw all that? We'll see. That's a lot of work. But what I am going to do is look at the whole composition, the whole understanding of how those branches actually work. It's like down, like over it, and then this one goes from there. And I'm going to get like a good idea of understanding how this tree overall works. Am I going to exactly copy the reference? Probably not. I'm going to have some play with this one because I feel pretty comfortable with my drawing skills today. Last time I did the recording, it was my gesture was off, which isn't always bad, but then the eyeballs got off because I followed my gesture. But then I caught myself and was like, you know what? We're putting them here. But it turned an hour video into 2 hours. And today I'm going to aim for an hour. So let's see, it's 7:18. It's already been 2 minutes. So 8:16. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, 8:16, 8:15, somewhere in there. Or I might end it early. I don't know. So, but I definitely do not want to waste too much time. Um, I learned a lot from last week. I still don't know how to edit the videos, so no swearing. Gotta remind myself not to do that, even while I'm drawing and making mistakes. I'm probably going to widen this, widen this area just to get the picture kind of somewhat similar. Otherwise, I'm going to be squishing some trees in. Or I could just squish the trees in, Actually, I might just do that. Just squish the trees in. That sounds like a great idea. It's going to make me decide what and where I should start. So, okay. As you can see, just by looking at this tree, I can see that it's nothing but other plants in the background. Just by looking through those little gaps and holes in the branches and through the leaves. You know, knowing that this tree actually isn't so thick. It's very thin. It's almost opaque. Um, I can put whatever I want in the background. I can put other branches or whatever. I think I'm just going to put leaves in the background. Why? Because that's all you mostly see is leaves in the background. All that green stuff. Some purple. But you don't really see branches because it's just so thick all together. It's just like clumped in. Almost lost my reference. I forgot. If you scroll on that, it'll flip through pages, and that's not what I want. I went to an old drawing that I think is still pretty good because it teaches me perspective. And you need to know perspective. That's pretty important. So I'm going to do leaves and a sky in the background. I'm just going to probably take out these trees over here and more focus on some sort of tree like this. Not exactly like it, but like it. And yeah, so knowing the layers, what's going in front, behind, and whatnot is going to allow you to start drawing the tree. Yeah. And as an artist, you should probably and a designer, the design, breaking it down, the artist, drawing what's inside of each layer. Those are two different jobs. Same thing, and I do a lot of design work. Those are my majors, art and design, so not afraid to just get in there. So here we go. Let's do a sky. What kind of sky? Well, I like the nice blue sky, but I might make it a little bit foggy, like it might rain. So here we go. Ugh. Alright, this always hurts my eyes. Anytime you're going to color in something that's going to hurt your eyes or make it hard to see, I'm going to teach you a trick. Add a layer, and you kind of want to start at the bottom if you're doing it. From top is finish, and here you have time to sketch out things and whatnot. That's how I use my layers anyway, like a real drawing. So, back to what I was saying. Anytime you're gonna do anything that's close to white, just throw a background. Isn't that hard? Just be like, oh, I have yellow on this front page. That's very annoying for my eyes. It doesn't like the adjacents. They're too close together. Yeah. Boom. Well, suddenly, that makes sense. Photo. Back to here. I'm going to pick up my color back. And we're just gonna go in here. And just... because this is my sky color. It's gray. Like a rainy day. Because that's what I want, and that's what I'm seeing. As you can kind of see there, it's not a big pretty blue sky, it's actually gray. There's stuff in the air. And it's fun because, I have a thin layer, and then I have a layer with a lot of pigment. The contrast of the opaque and the transparent. So we can actually play with those for clouds. We can. So it just depends how I want to do this. But now that I got a good layer, a good idea, let's thin the brush down and just go in here and just go in here, make some sky. This is a really good way to make a sky if you haven't done it before, because it makes absolutely sense. Let's just go in here and start adding your sky. a lot of play here. Don't waste it. And since I'm early on, it was cool. So I'm not worried about the floor here because I know there's going to be a lot of branches and a lot of leaves. And this is part of being a good designer, is deciding what's happening ahead of time. What do I need to focus on? This is what makes a good designer and a good artist, knowing both. You know, they're and then actually understanding that they're two different jobs. You know, a lot of people go, "Oh, that's just one job," and it's like, no, it's not. Like if you can write it down on paper, be like, "Hey, this is two different jobs. This is what I'm going to be doing at first, and this is what I'm going to be doing later." Because it is a ton of work. Trust me, it's almost too much work sometimes. And we're just going to go in here and just add not a lot of blue. Just want to go in there and a touch. But let's make this guy darker. I think that's almost too much, but that's okay. And it's better to actually just erase away the clouds, because it starts to look a lot more realistic if you do that. I don't know exactly why, but I do understand enough to be like, this is how you get to point A to point B, right? We want a cloudy sky still, so we just gotta play. And this is the fun part. I never thought, when I first started painting skies, I never thought it would be so fun, and it is. Like you can go in there and it's just really nice. And you can just play with the clouds, quite literally. And not everyone can say that they do that. Make whatever shape you want, or whatever feels right. You know? Most of the sky is going to be covered up, so I'm not really too worried about it. But I'm worried enough that it will look like a sky. So, and we can go in darker. But you always want to stay close to the colors you're using, unless you're going in depth. Then you might want to go into a darker color. But then go back over it, because your first choice may not be your best choice. And I've heard that so much that I believe it. Yeah. It's not that your first choice was wrong, it's just not always your best choice. There's always more. Yeah. So there we go. Good enough for me. Now let's go with grass. I know you think it's kind of funny that it's like, why start on a dark background? Well, why not? The ground underneath all that grass, you think it's a white background? I highly doubt that. In fact, I think there's so much stuff covering it up, it's shaded and it's really dark. And you know what? that darkness is going to make it look very nice. Because this is where you have all the play in the world. Anchor. Yeah. Like I said, there's so much play here. It's not even funny. But yeah, this is my ground. And yep, this takes a while. But you know what? Gotta be an artist. That's what people are looking for in the industry and everything. Someone who can do it quick and easy and still get that good looking technique. And if you find that person, obviously they're a keeper. But yeah, some people ruin it for themselves. Let's see, that one's that layer. Oh yeah, always check your layers. Make sure you haven't drawn on anything else. Like, I drew on the black layer. That was probably a bad idea if I need to go back in here, but hopefully I don't. I plan on covering it at all. So, okay. Now that I have that, I have my sketching layer. Now, I know for a fact I use lighter grays. So when I'm doing my sketching, I'm going to use a darker gray or a similar type color. So if I want to, I can actually, since this is a program, I don't need to worry about what I'm doing my gesture with. I could do a gesture with a purple color, blue color, red, brown, orange, all these different colors. It does not matter. It could even be white. But it doesn't matter what I do my gesture with. In fact, I think it would be really smart if I go in here and use a green, because the branches are going to be green anyway. And then I'll go over there and use the next color I'm going to use. Because that's just thinking ahead. And yeah, the whole point of these videos is for me to have fun and for people to learn from it anyway. So hope you guys are learning. Now, a tree. I'm gonna need to use a darker green because the grass is green. And I need to see my gesture. So I'll decide where I want the lighting ahead of time. Ooh, looks like, yep, I drew on that first layer. See? Already a problem. I will fix it later. Okay, but I know this tree is going to be on this layer, so, because it's the idea of the show. So, now branches are funny. They're like strings. They're like strings. They're like hair. They're very similar, only more not curvy, but sharp. Believe it or not. Hair is curvy. Branches are just like doing, and boom, you have a branch. You know, and they they do bend. They do have curves, but not that many. You'll be surprised. Like when you sit down and draw one, and you go up to a tree, it's like, oh my gosh, why does it do this? Yeah, and you're like, oh, this makes sense. Now this tree is very different from other trees because it's more spread out. In fact, I think I'm drawing multiple trees at the same time. Now that I look at it, that's okay. This tree is like two trees in one. I have my reference, but I don't have to draw from my reference. I can have fun here. So I just need the reference to understand what I'm drawing. It's like drawing a cat without understanding what a cat should look like. You shouldn't do that. Or drawing an intergalactical spaceship without designing out that spaceship. You'd be like, what is this? um, so always have a reference, even if you make the reference. Actually, I think I'm going to do that in my next video. Is I'm going to make myself a reference. I'm going to show you guys that process because it is a learning process. I've had to make my books before, and you basically do the same thing, or at least it'll get you started in the right direction, where you're like, okay, this makes sense. Now, in the background, there's only one other tree. Maybe let's say 1, 2, 3. Don't really see them. 4. It's mostly darkened. So 1, 2. Yeah, without that radius, you don't really see the logs or the bark of the trees. You do see some of the branches within, but barely. So I'm not even going to worry about that. And you're like, what are you talking about? This guy's crazy. I ain't go to work. And it's like, yes, it will. It's already starting to look like a tree. Now I've used my green. I'm going to get started on the leaves. And you're like, what? That looks nothing. Nope. Doesn't have to be. Because I can put as many branches as I want. It's all going to be covered up with leaves. It's just as long as the tree makes sense. Right? It's gotta make sense. Boom. And trust me, that makes plenty of sense. Turn this thing back on. Throw it over. We're gonna put you back down here. I'm gonna see what I can do with this layer here. Put you right there. Now that I have a lining of the layer, like a jester, I'm gonna make my lining. And real objects don't have lining. They really don't. Or do they? And we don't even understand that they do. I think they do, and it just blends in. Don't tell my art teacher I said that. But I think it does. Because otherwise you wouldn't have stuff like this. Right? You wouldn't have something that made it stand out. If we can't see the line, we actually don't see it at all. Which happens when something is the exact same color or darkness of the exact same object in front of that object. You won't see it unless there's a shade or a line, then you'll start to see it. You'll be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But there are times where I couldn't even see my arm in the middle of the night. So, and over here, it's actually going to be really dark. We're just gonna say there's a shadow imprinted on this tree because I can do whatever I want with shadows. You know who taught me that? My brother did. He really did. He was just like, I can put shading wherever I want. It looks good. And he did, and it did look good. And I was like, what? And that's called playing with the eye. You know, if you can do that, that's pretty good. But like this got me ahead of it so far. Like right now, it doesn't look like a tree too much, but it's gonna start. Just you wait. You'll just be like, wow, that's a tree. Yeah, obviously I have a scribbly style, not a natural, organic, rounding style, which is nice. I agree with the rounding style. You can get a lot of work done, but sometimes I believe that scribbly style gets you to places where the rounded style just doesn't. Some artists might argue with me, but you know what? I like it. They're all styles. Just know how to get your shapes. Because in the end, that shape is what's gonna matter. You know, it's how did you get that shape? Did you really break it down? Do you really understand that shape? And it's like, I can always alter the shape. A lot of people don't like to go away from that. They like to go, oh man, this looks nothing like it. Let's restart the whole picture. And it's like, no, you can always fix it. Don't don't be shy. Get in there. Right? It's an easy fix. I mean, sometimes it's very difficult, as seen as on the last drawing, but I got where I wanted. It just took me a little bit longer because it didn't start off good. That's okay. Maybe I was nervous. There's a lot of factors that come into play. But yeah, however you draw, use it and feel comfortable with it. Now, leaves. Leaves are funny because they're not really there. Like we see them, but there's so many of them, they blend in with each other. And this comes back on where I was telling you about where a color or whatever that's the same color and from the object that's the exact same color, exact same shading, it'll literally go invisible. Knowing that, and knowing that the leaves are so close to each other, you don't really need to worry about detail because they're gonna run right off of each other, and understanding that is how you're going to get this tree to come alive. Now, I have my eraser tool. Now, this is just a issue with me is I will grab the wrong tool. Now, we're just going to draw the shape of the leaves. And you're like, that's too early. No, it's not. It's never too early to do this. There's so many branches in a tree that at a distance, it's just, you get the shape of the leaves. And you're just going to blend it in because you start realizing that there's so many branches and so many things. But this is why you draw the branches first, so that you have them there. Of course, I should probably thin down those branches, but then again, I can thin down those branches with my leaves, right? I don't have to have it exact. I just need to understand that those are my branches. They are there. Now we're going to go in here and we're just going to speculate the racer. But yeah, this is legitimately how I do a tree. It's not how everyone does a tree. Everyone does it differently. But I'm not going to shy away of my technique. Now, this is the squishy problem I was going to tell you about. Don't be afraid to just draw off the screen. Because I have to squish, I lose detail, right? That's okay. Detail can be lost. Because detail naturally gets lost. Like, I've already lost it in this picture. We can zoom in as far as we want, but it's gone, right? I can go, whoosh, oh look, so much detail. No, it's all blurred out. I'm barely able to make out the leaves. So, just like real pictures, you can blur it out. And in real life, you're gonna see only so much. To the point where it's like, am I really drawing a leaf, or am I just drawing what the leaf looks like? And this is why it makes sense for people who take off glasses should just take them off when they're drawing, so they can get the overall shape. But I kind of don't care about the shape at the moment, which is funny. But I do care that this tree looks kind of realistic, because I'm not doing an exact duplicate of this. I'm having fun coming up with the shapes of it. Like, how does that work? So I'm getting my understanding from the tree itself. Now, it has highlights, it has all kinds of things. And a lot of that comes from color theory and whatnot. So, as this tree starts to come alive, and remember, I only have so much time to do a tree. And I don't want you guys to be like, oh, I have to watch a whole nother 2 hours. Like, I think an hour is long enough to where if you want to, you can skip through certain sections of the video. It's fine. Just understand what I'm doing. If you want to follow along, that's cool with me. I'm just here to have fun myself. So, just trying to get you all to understand how this tree comes about. And when you draw trees, I want you to think kind of in a similar way of why the heck is it like this? And it still works, right? It's literally like, I feel like this is a tree, right? There's our branches and whatnot. And we're going to go in and we're going to make it feel more like a tree because trees don't have anything. Hey, if I wanted to, I could leave it as a stick. Be like, oh, look, all the leaves fell off. Yeah. And then I would just thin down the sketch. Alright, there we go. 1 hour. Oh, I can't even remember what time I started. I think it was it 8:16, 8:18, somewhere. Or I think that was what time was supposed to end. Oh well. Alright, now that I got orange, let's move on to the red color. Yes, I did that so backwards. I should have used red. That's okay. We're just gonna play with this, with our warm colors. So, ha ha, color theory. Right? Oh, this is so wrong. Okay. But you know what? I'm gonna say that there is some orange somewhere in that tree. And I'm not full of baloney. And you're just gonna be like, how did you see that? And I'd be like, I could feel it. You can feel colors. You look at them and go, oh my gosh, I can feel that. This one's hot. This one's cool. This one's warm. Keep that in mind. I learned so much from that class. I recommend taking a color theory class if you can. I took mine at Yavapai and I learned a ton. A lot of people go, oh, glad you got it. And it's like, no, I learned a ton there. I still use it today. I went to that art school and I learned a ton there too, but I learned just as much, just different. Yeah, I still even use the programming techniques from other teachers, but this is art, and we're talking about art. So, let's talk about art. I hate programming, by the way. If you don't know, I really do. But yeah, this is pretty and makes me so much happier. This one guy's like, you need to mess with this. And it's like, yeah, I do, but you know what? If I can't find it, how am I supposed to mess with it? If no one has taught me it, how am I supposed to know about it? Exactly. And that's a problem. This is why going to school is good. You can learn all this stuff by yourself, but going to school just makes it that much better. This almost feels like the tree is on fire, but trust me, it's not. It just looks that way. But it also feels like beautiful leaves. Now, we're going to go in here and we're going to use a lighter shade, right? I forgot what this is called, and I should know it. The contrast? No. I think it is. I should know those names. I am terrible. My art teacher would be very disappointed, and I don't blame him for me not knowing those names. But I have the book. I still look at it. I just need to grab it and look at it some more. And look at my notes. Always take notes. Take tons of notes. I don't care. Just take as many as you can think of. Alright. Our leaves are coming together. Now, we're going to go in here and eventually add some detail. But for right now, we're just going to play with the colors. Ugh, this might actually take 2 hours. I think. I hope not, but it might. And I'm okay. At least now I know how to get the videos. That took me so long to find. I had to like dig through websites. You know, it's like a teacher showed me so much to do, but then it's like something they didn't show you how to do, and then you're like, how in the hell do I do that? That's when it comes to researching it yourself. It's like they got you started. Now you gotta learn more. You can do 2 ways to do this. Take another class, or you can teach yourself. And I recommend doing both. Teach yourself and taking classes. Because that's gonna get you where you need to go. Especially if you're a new time drawer. Yeah. I'm liking this tree just because it's fun. It almost seems foreign, but that's okay. Alright. Got a lot of that in. Now, we're going to go up here and make another layer. And we're just going to add in this layer, actually going to add branches in. And that sounds nuts because we're like, oh, we just did the branches. Nope. We're going to add more branches. But before that, I think I gotta use the restroom. So I will be right back. Alright, got back from the restroom. Tree looks the same. Wow, this thing has a timer. Okay, I have 18 more minutes. So at 18, this is done. Okay. Oh, well, that makes more sense. No. Okay, branches look like branches, everything. But yeah. You know what? Sometimes by looking away and then coming back, you actually know what you're missing. So you should probably do this always when you're drawing anything. You just look away for a few seconds and then look back at it. You know, just because I want to add to this. And yes, I'm totally on a different layer and I don't care. Okay. So adding to the branch. You want to use a smaller brush because there's a lot of detail here. That you need to add in yourself. You can't just expect it to be there, right? You gotta make sure it's there. And, you know, you actually learn a lot from looking at Van Gogh and stuff. First, you don't understand it, but then you understand, like, what he was doing. He wasn't drawing like a kid, he was using color theory. A lot of people don't know about that. All of them, they learned a ton, you know. They were showing people how to use that in a way. I mean, now in history museums, we look at it and we go, oh my gosh, this is what he was actually doing. That's brilliant. Watch, he was just like, I put these colors here. No, that stuff was actually planned out. So, and that was pretty brilliant. You know, put your branches in, and like I said, this is a really simple way to do this. Um, and I think it always turns out pretty good. It starts out looking like a kid's drawing, and you're just like, this is crap. I don't know what I'm doing. But then you look at it again, and you're like, this is brilliant. I know exactly what I'm doing. Now, this is kind of my own technique, and this is at the same time everything I have learned from school. So, it's a mixture of both. And they work really wonderful. Now, I'm still experimenting with my own style, but I've been drawing like this from the day I was like born, and you know what? I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's understanding how it works, or how it's supposed to be making those shapes. You know, how a branch is really defined. Define that in your head. So, like, because before you know it, you'll have a tree. And believe me, I did a tree in this one drawing class, and I was really impressed. I didn't use this technique, by the way. I just straight up went there and tried drawing the tree. So, and I look at that tree and I'm like, wow, it's so real. It's like you're there. But this will work because I know how the tree works. I've drawn trees before. And this is a good way to understand how the tree works. You know, it's still got a cartoony feel to it, but that's okay. It's coming together. It's almost time, but yep. And being on a time limit makes this really hard as well. Because it's like, I want people to learn. I swear I'm a great artist. Great letter. Okay. Now, what else? We're just gonna go in here with the eraser. You're like, what? Now he's using an eraser. And it's like, well, you have holes in your branches, don't you? Yes, you have holes in between the leaves, don't you? So why aren't there holes? So understand your tree in general, right? And you're gonna just kind of place them wherever. If you can, put it down to 1 pixel and do one at a time. Sounds nuts, but you know. That's a lot of work. Yeah, I wish. That's one thing that is very irritating about Meaty Blank was, I don't know why, but it glitches from tablet to mouse. So, and you're just like, how in the world am I supposed to do this? Because there are some things that's better on a mouse. Like, this would be way better on a mouse because I could click way better than vibrating a pencil. Yes, this is the dotting technique. And it's normally used in dotting paintings and whatnot, but sometimes it works. in drawings and whatnot. So, and it allows you to get what you want. By the way, I'm going pretty fast. If you don't know, you can actually hear me tapping like a crazy person. And it's very tiring at the same time. So now these are big dots, so I need to be very careful, but it's getting the size I want. And this is where actually thinking ahead may see. So just like, oh gosh. But yeah, this is a long process until you get an awesome looking tree. But it's faster than just like starting right off the beginning. And it's a good way to get you a tree. So. And it's like, at what distance do I want people to go up to the thing and actually say, oh, that looks like a tree? Like from far away, up close, that's another thing. Because, you lose a lot of detail from the distance, and things start looking great from a distance. But then you see them up close and you're like, what the heck is this? But understanding that perspective makes you a better artist. Another guy goes, it's brilliant. And yes, you know where I got that from? I was watching Chip Flake. He's a good artist. If you're an artist, you should watch other artists. And Chip Flake is pretty good. He's funny. Okay, now. Boop. Oh no. That's okay. Boop. Do I like that better? See, this is where you gotta play with things. Okay. Boop. Boop. Alright. So we got a good gesture, good thing going on here. Now, in the foreground, the tree is starting to look like a tree. And yeah, this is going to take way longer than I thought. But, I just can't wait. Okay. Alright. So, leaves. Do I want red? Let's go with the darker red. And you gotta go in there and draw the leaves. Because believe it or not, this is probably the most annoying piece of it, but it's going to get your tree looking like a tree. Ooh, I need to go darker. Yep, because before you know it, you might actually discover the leaves are a texture. Learning what a texture is going to make you way better. Let's do like brown, because I'm losing my leaves. There we go. But yeah, there's a lot of texturing and everything. But in this case, this will be shading. Now know the difference between texturing and shading. Shading builds depth. Texturing is just like, oh, I put all these lines. So, you know, and somehow it makes it look good. But, yeah. So, a lot of people use stuff like Maya and be like, oh, look at this. I did an awesome texture on the model. And I go, let me look at that. How did you do that? I went to the object and pushed it inward and out. I'm like, how else could I do that? By pushing the object inward and out. Well, let's put a shadow and you get the exact same thing. It's like, that is shading, that is not texturing. However, all the lines where everything is, that's a texture. You know? Like if you were cross-hatching over and over and over and over and over again, that's a texture. Like this right here that I'm doing is a texture. I can guarantee it. You know, also, it gives depth and be like, oh, well, it's got plenty of leaves. You know, but this is a texture. Because you can't even tell those are leaves. You can't even tell that those are not leaves, as I should say. When I get finished with this thing, you're going to be like, wow, those are leaves. They look like leaves. Now, the whole idea is to trick the brain into thinking those are leaves, not scribbly lines. And that could take a while. But that's when all your texturing comes in. So, and believe me, it's a lot of work. And I had this teacher that would talk like that. Sometimes I talk like him because it reminds me of all the things he said. And he said some pretty good things. But it's understanding of, and I got a texture this whole entire thing. Yep. Just as I thought. Going to take way longer than the actual hour. Dang it, Tucker. That's okay. I will continue drawing on this guy until I think it's finished. So, but maybe this won't take as long. I hope not. Oh god. Yeah. I don't have class today, but I do have homework, and I'm only gonna do a video once a week. I've decided this because they're a lot. They're a hassle, and it's like, oh my gosh. But yeah, my tree is starting to come alive. You go, this is crazy, right? But yeah, after you draw a bunch of little branches in a tree, you're just like, there's gotta be an easier way to do this. And of course, I will say, actually draw from the reference once in a while, because that's where you're gonna learn how the object works. Like the next time I draw a tree, I'll probably draw from the reference. But I'm going to draw a character next week, a character I have actually made. And that'll probably be happy hour. So, and you'll get to learn why drawing from reference is a really great idea. why you should always draw from the reference or object you make. Um, you shouldn't shy away from it. So I threw. See, now I'm gonna throw in some shading here. Show you the difference between shading and texturing. So texture, shading, right there, and that's going to make it look more like a branch, and the texturing is going to make it look more like leaves. So ugh, it's a lot of work. Yes, I'll even throw it on the branch because we're going to go in here and we're just going to throw a texture on the bark. The bark of a tree. The bark. And it's going to be like, what the heck? Now, there's many ways to do this. Just like sometimes it's better to just leave it all green, but then I like to go in here and just, why not, add a texture. It's not going to hurt anything. Now some textures aren't the best, but that's okay. You know what? I do not like there being a hole in my tree, so let's patch up the tree. Yes, that sounded exactly as it said. Let's patch up the tree. Because we're going to make this tree look like a tree. Can I use that? That'll work. Now my texture is a little bit. Ah! And now my tree is turning. I'm not done yet. Oh gosh. Yep. I went over an hour. That's okay. Just know that tree branches or tree bark is different, so you need to texture it differently. Because tree bark, if you could see it, it like leaves like these weird triangle things. You're just like, why the heck? And this is why you need to draw real trees, because you wouldn't know that unless if I hadn't said anything. So trees have weird triangle things. Like you zoom in on them, and you're just like, what is that? You're just like, it's a triangle. I don't know. But yeah, my tree is coming alive. Oh, I might end the video. We'll see. Is this still recording or am I just drawing? Okay, it's still recording. 104. Not too much over. But yeah, as you can see, this is how you make a tree come alive. And this is totally not a real tree, so as you can tell, it's not even the reference. It's something, the reference gave the idea, but you can see that it's not the actual reference. And that's how you do that. Now, if I was that tree and been like, you drew me and said this was me, you'd be in trouble. Because it looks nothing like reference, right? It'd be like, you're some other tree, you're cheating. But yeah, um, anytime you draw people, you should draw from the reference because a tree, you can just say, oh, this looks like the tree. Draw a person, I can guarantee you if I did this on the Maddie Zinger picture, you'd be like, that's nope. Okay. Excuse me. I just like burped in the mic. But yeah, here we go. I'm doing a pretty good job. Got the tree. 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 Can kind of start rounding things out. And drop back to leaves. Now you gotta do the leaf texturing. And we know that leaves kind of look like this. They're kind of spiky. At the same time, they're not. As you can see the image in the little corner, yeah, you definitely should use that guy so you can be like, oh, is this looking right? Look at this. It's looking right. So keep going. Yeah, that is exactly what I want. Is how does this guy look like from far away? How does this guy look like from up close? How does this guy look like? Or what's this gonna look like? Yeah, as it starts to turn into a tree. Now I have really good texturing ability. It's just right. It, I drew a leaf texture on the branch. That is probably not good. That's okay. Any mess ups you make are just gonna look like branches anyway. In fact, I would recommend just putting little lines off on purpose just to make little tiny branches. Because you'll look at it and be like, oh, that is branch. From far away. Because, as you know, trees have a bunch of little twigs and whatnot inside them. Little sticks. And yeah. Oh my gosh. So, whew, this is very tiring. I like that song, and it plays in my head a lot when I'm trying to concentrate. And believe it or not, for some weird reason, it gets me going. I think it's on the teacher theory where they play music as kids are doing homework, going, "Dish makes him work." And sure enough, it does. But it's still funny, you know? Like, oh my gosh. Hair textures, leaf textures, and this is nuts. It's like, low poly going into high poly. It's like, screw you. But yeah. And we'll have some more fun once I get my leaves in. Sorry this is taking so long. And just, you know, once I get better, like I said, this is gonna make me better as artist, and this will make anybody else better who wants to watch and learn, which I'm pretty proud of, because eventually gonna go in here and like take an eraser to certain shapes, because obviously that branch don't look, it looks good, never mind. But we will still mess with it, yeah, because after a while it's like, what is that? It's hard to play with this theory, because this theory is very hard to use and hard to understand. And it's like, da na 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 na. But yeah, of course I have like a scribbly hand motion, and it's even worse on this board. Like, I don't do this on purpose. The board actually, like, it doesn't always scan, so I'm just like, you know what? I don't care. Scribbly. I'm gonna go with it, and believe it or not, it adds to the work. And I'm just like, well, how is that? So, yeah, every one of my works look kind of like this. And I'm just like, oh, wonderful. If I go in the art industry and then they see this, they're gonna be like, that guy right there, he's fired. He got bad lighting. It's like, hey, back off. Does it look like your character? Yes. Then why would you hire me? It's like, because it got weird lining, and it's like, no, it's close enough, buddy. You don't like my weird lining. Learn how to deal with it. Now, it can be hard to unwrap things and whatnot. I think that's probably the most pain in the butt, is to try to do it all at once. Like, Brian's taught me so much from modeling, whatnot. Not really the modeling, but how to use these programs. Like, I've learned a ton from that. It's like he learns a program, I learn a program. He learns a program, I learn a program. Like Blender. Oh my gosh. I am not ready to do tutorials on Blender. That's gonna take me a while. So, it's just because I am not familiar with it, and I kind of hope Brian does a few. That would be cool. Be like, hey man, you're an artist. I know you could do this. Could you do that? Like, how the heck do you use 2.8 or 3.5 or whatever? Because it's challenging. Alright. Sorry this is taking so long, but yeah. Got my texture in. Holy cow. That was a lot. Zoom out. Wow. Starting to look like a tree. Now. Wow. Starting to look like a tree. Okay. Now, from here, I could keep adding and subtracting and do whatever I want with it. But it is definitely starting to look like a tree. Yeah. I might even just, I guess I'll just keep playing around until I think, oh, I've had enough. probably shouldn't go past 9 o'clock. So, see, like this is my problem with the brush and the tablet. So now I gotta zoom in by like times 30, but that's okay. Because by getting times 30, I'm able to look at it in here. But first, let's add some things. Working on a ton of different layers, which is alright, because layers are okay. Now, we're just gonna go in here and just add pinks, purples, and whatnot, because it just adds to it, right? We have my texture already on the leaves. First, it doesn't seem like it's doing much, but if you really look at it up close, and you're just like, oh, okay. From a distance, it doesn't matter, but up close, it starts looking more like a tree, I'm gonna tell you. And it's fine, because you can go like this. I don't want that green branch being there, so you can actually overwrite that branch. You can go like this. That branch doesn't really look like a branch, so bring it in. Same thing here. Here. Now let's see. Yeah, I can go in here, and I can actually just erase. We can have some fun erasing things too. This is going to allow us to make our branches more smooth. And since I'm on this layer, I can naturally add to it. So, such as right here, and right here, and right here. And then we can delete anything that's outside of it. Like, I don't like the lining. So, boom, there's no lining. Boom. Now we can see what that looks like. And that looks like crud, right? So, but then we'll do this new layer is actually help complement the lining so that it looks like a tree. Because obviously trees don't have this kind of edge, but this is what's going to help make the tree look like a tree, right? Because we already got our shape in there. It just needs to be carried out with. Trees kind of do that, you know. They have leaves that overlap and whatnot. And then they have branches that just kind of split out. But yeah, this is what this layer is for. To help define the tree. Define your lines, because you have the lines there from all your messing around. Now you just need to define them. And defining them actually isn't that bad. It's just like, because trees it's starting to look like a tree. Whew. Of course, that is a ton of work, I gotta admit. I haven't done this in a long time, so the fact that I'm doing so good makes me kind of happy. But yeah, and then after this, because now that I understand how the tree works, from here you have a tree. Yeah, it's good because you also learn that I totally did not BS anything. I totally know what I'm doing as an artist. You know, that this isn't just a theory, this is actually legitimately mathematics here. It's just a different form of math. I actually had to talk to a student the other day. They're like, drawing is easy. In fact, when they tell me, let's say, they told me that, like, there's, if a programmer could do it so much better, and it's like, an artist does use math. In fact, they use graphs and whatnot. There's more understanding than they think there is in math. Oh, I'm just so tired. Okay, there we go. Go in here, go in there, throw that in there, go here. And as you can see, it's starting to come together. Whew. And yep, timer is over, and I just continue to draw. I am so sorry, people. But yeah, if you're with me, it means you like me and you do learn from this. So, and I'm pretty proud that I accomplished that. I wish I could do it faster than this, but I guess this comes to show that I'm still a beginner. But you know what? That's okay. We all go start somewhere. So, um, yep. I am not gonna go over 3 hours, and I can promise that I won't go over 2. So, um, because as soon as I get this tree to shape where I want it to be, we're gonna call it good. Yep, where you define branches and whatnot. And you can always add. But that was a really good start, right? Okay. Oh my gosh. This is always the fun part. Yeah. Yeah, this is a good way to learn too. Like I just totally made up a tree. And it's not a duplicate. So that's very impressive, right? And you're just adding branches. You can say that you now know how to do that. If you've watched this video. So, because it practically explained how that works. Let's say, do I have any more branches over here? I think there should be one right there. And we should probably put, yep, there's one right there. And it kind of goes off. That's okay. Let's go down. This guy right here. Fence. This branch should connect to this branch. Yeah. But yeah, this is what I wanted people to learn was like when you're going off, you're making this stuff on the fly. Holy cow. Yeah. It's really hard to make all that stuff from the fly. So even people that make it off the fly still need a reference. And I'm going to show that in the next video for sure that I make. That they still have a reference to something. Like where the character creating begins and whatnot. Ugh. I think I've hit my peak. Just because I'm tired. But yeah, you get the idea as I'm making these branches up here and here. And then I'd probably add more up here for leaf status just to get that defined more. But the more you do it, the more it's going to add to the tree, the more you're going to have a tree. So here I'll take that branch up here, the one that's actually coming together. The other ones are too, but I'll sort of explain what to do. So there's a flow to these leaves, as you can see it on the picture and on here. So you're actually going to kind of just make it pop. Now you can do this using the light color or you can use a dark color. It doesn't matter how you do it. Just that you do it. Because then it's like we're finally understanding what the shape of the tree is going to be. And there was no way to understand it until you started drawing it. And other than that, the only other way you would be able to do that is to break it down. So it's just, and you can see tree coming together. So and you could just continuously draw on this bugger for a long time. Right? Sorry, keep blowing in the mic. It's just like me venting out all my air. It's like oxygen. But yeah, there's actually quite a few areas where it's like we could break this down even further. There are leaves here and there. And then we could take an eraser and just be like, in any area that's like covering a branch, you would just kind of soak it in. It was like over here, just kind of soak it in. And you would just do that kind of slowly. But yeah, and then as you get farther away, we have a tree coming together. Now, if you look at this, the dark shapes, which would be the branches, and the light shapes would be the leaves. So we go back in here and go, instead of drawing with darkness, since we know what should be there, I can just go in with the light. And of course it blends in with the clouds, which is why I didn't want to do light, but it still works. Yeah, we can even do it that way. It doesn't matter how you do it, but the shape is still there. And you do lose a lot of detail. Yeah, even in real life you lose a lot of detail. So this is how I do trees. And if you don't want something out, just go right over it. I wish I had more time to show more of this. But, oh well. That's just the artist in me being like, there's so much more work I could do to it. And it's like, but dude, it's gotta end sometime. Or does it? Da, 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 da. I could go on forever, can't I? It's like, you shouldn't go on forever. But I could. Da, 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 da. And this is such a weird tree. Of course, I may draw more of these just to get my understanding of it. Yeah. I've only gotten a piece of it. And sometimes that happens, right? Got a beautiful tree here, and you've only gotten half of it. I feel like back here is probably like my best piece right here. And we can play with it too. I don't have to be like, this is the front. I can be like, that's the back. And, same here. As long as you understand where those branches should be, you're good. Just having fun. Oh boy. Okay. Take break. Starting out with very interesting. Yeah. Can always add more, take away more. Very play with tree. Very strange. This was coming about. But yeah. Interesting. But yeah. Just definitely looks like some sort of tree to me. I would probably play more with that white and the colors. Maybe interconnect. As you can see, some places it connects and some places it just doesn't. Some places you can just go in and just kind of like put dots in. And it'll start to look more like a tree. And you'll be surprised how that works. And I'm just like, why is this working? And it makes sense all the time. But at the moment, sometimes it doesn't even make sense. But yeah. You know, it's a lot of play for sure when doing these things. And it's like, what is he looking at? It's like, I know what I'm looking at. Do you know what you're looking at? I'm looking at a tree. So yeah. And then you just keep adding more and more and more, and eventually you'll have a tree. Ah, there we go. Yeah, and you can even add more detail to the leaves and then lessen the detail. Sometimes I like to do that. It's like, it's got too much. Yeah. And then, so you just go in and you go, and boom. Looks more like the leaves in the picture. Because there's just so much. But yeah. Use some of those flat colors. Interesting. And this one turned out so different. But yeah. Got my tree. May not be the best leaves, but I got my tree. I can always add more to it. So, oh yeah. If you liked the video, please subscribe. Not, I tried. It's so weird because you got like a realistic field, but then you got like a weird painting type feel, and then it's just very interesting. Alright. Catch you all later. Thank you for watching the video. Put a like if you like it. Yeah, and please subscribe. I'll be making more. I'm definitely starting to get used to this. I'm always on a timer, so very hard to put all what I mean and say into one picture. But yeah, I'll definitely draw more trees. As you can see, I need some practice. But it was coming alive. It was just really hard to draw that in an hour. So, and it's really hard to draw pictures in general in an hour. But yeah, I have a feeling this was a painting of a picture. Yeah, if that's the case, no wonder it didn't come out right. But it looks good. I think it looks good enough. Maybe not exactly referenceable. Like somebody might be like, "That's a crappy tree," but yeah, I will definitely be working on my tree skills for sure. All right, bye. Oh, there's the stop.